We're flying through the air. We're big 5/5 red dragons. Today's commander is Guru Guru and Satoru, where you create massive 5/5 red dragons. I'm Paul, I'm your host. This is the first rule of Nerd Club. Let's get into the deck tech. So, Guru Guru and Satoru reads, it is a 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, so it's actually really cheap to get out. It is a Goblin Human, a 3/4. Whenever one or more creatures you control that enter the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature with token with flying. Ooh, nice. And it also got 1 and a red. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Now this card here is actually really good. I actually really thoroughly enjoyed making this deck. What's there not to love? Having big fat ass dragons flying and smashing into people's faces. So the way I thought about this deck is that we obviously want to create tokens or get creatures out that have got haste so they can smash face straight away, or maybe ones that have got like evasion where they've got like flying or they're unblockable. I have actually built 2 decks around Guru Guru and Satoru. I'm going to show the one that I actually prefer. I'm going to put both of them in the link in the description below. See which one you think. The other one is more to do with like the ninjutsu and things like that, so where they come out. It's a great deck. I just prefer doing this style. Okay, start off with the win cons. Win con number 1 is obviously you want to create tokens. So you've got things like the Ubrask Forge, which says at the beginning of your combat on your turn, put an oil counter on it, then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on Ubrask Forge. You obviously sacrifice them at the end of the turn. You then obviously create the tokens. On combat, you attack, and if you can get through and you actually hit the opponent, you get a 5/5 red dragon. Amazing. So that's the win con number 1. Hit the other opponents, so then we can bring out these 5/5 red dragons. Now the great thing about the text is, it's not just one bit of damage, it's to every single opponent. So you can maybe create 3 5/5 red dragons on every single combat. So what you can do is hopefully get one attacking each opponent, and then you have a massive dragon army very, very quickly. Win con number 2. So say if that's like being shut down and you just can't seem to get the motion, because sometimes you play in, you know, especially the blue decks where they counter everything and you just can't seem to get things out. You then decide to have Grim Grin Corpse Born. It basically comes into the battlefield tapped and doesn't untap during your upkeep. You sacrifice another creature and then you untap it but put a 1/1 counter on it. Well, that's great, but what we want to do is put Elemental Mastery on top of Grime. I'm just going to call him Grime. We put Elemental Mastery on Grime. It says enchanted creature has tap it, create X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste, where X is the creature's power. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So you obviously put that onto your Grim. You want to obviously sacrifice another creature, which then obviously means it becomes untapped. You can then use the Elemental Mastery ability, you tap it, and then you create 5/1/1 tokens, which then you sacrifice one of them tokens, you then untap it, and then you tap it again, and you keep doing that, so you'll have an infinitely large Grim, as well as an infinitely large 1/1 elemental creature, massive token horde with haste, and then you just kill everyone off with that instead. So if you can't get the dragons out, just smash them with 1/1 creatures instead. This one's very, very similar. Win con number 3. As you can tell by most of my decks, I always try and at least have maybe 2, 3, sometimes even 4. Depends on what sort of deck I'm styling, but at least want 2. Like that's even on the low end, 3 win cons, because other decks are basically built to stop other people from playing the cards. It's as simple as that. And if they know that's your 1 win con and then they constantly just stop you, you're then sat in the game bored. You're like, well, I can't do anything. So this is a way of making sure that people don't even know about these. Like, oh, yes, I've now won because I can do this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize you're doing that. So I always try and keep a few. Now this here you've got Galvanic Juggernaut. Basically it attacks each turn if able. It doesn't untap during your upkeep, and then whenever a creature dies you untap it. Well, we're not bothered about attacking with it. What we're bothered about is using the same thing, Elemental Mastery. So then you obviously put it onto the Juggernaut, you tap it, it creates 5/1/1 elemental creature tokens. You then sacrifice one again, but you sacrifice it to this Goblin Bombardment, which says sacrifice a creature. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. Well, you're creating 4 1/1 targets every single time, so you keep doing that. You keep making, I don't know, you keep making loads and loads of 1/1 creatures with the Elemental Mastery. Keep on tapping the Gallivantic Juggernaut, and then you keep just sacrificing them. So you do 1 damage to any target. You just do that till 1 damage till everyone's dead. Another great way of winning the game. Now, how do we go about getting these? That is the thing. How do we go about getting the damage through? Well, because we'll be creating loads of creatures, loads of tokens that are 1/1s or 4/1s, or we always try and have creatures that are only just doing 1 power. We then, obviously, we can get the damage through with this Tetsuku Umzwana Fugitive. I think that's how you pronounce it. You'll notice by my videos, I can't do it. I butcher names. It says creatures you control with power or toughness, 1 or less, can't be blocked. Ooh, very nice. Get that out. You get your 1/1 creatures out, attack 3 opponents. Hey, bing bada bosh, you've got 3 flying 5/5 dragons ready at your disposal to attack next turn. Also, to make the ones that you've brought out do more damage, use things like In the Web of War. Whenever a creature comes into play under your control, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. So even if the tokens or whatever comes out doesn't have haste, they can get haste with this and they get an extra +2 damage on it. Great, that's how we're going to get the damage through to get to the dragons. And what fits into the theme? Well, we've got things like Jaxis the Troublemaker. You just discard a card, you create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control. It gains haste. And when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Activate only as a sorcery. Not only will it get you drawing cards because you're creating tokens, but it'll also get you creating something else on the board which is going to create you more tokens. So then you obviously can go into combat and then start smashing faces and hopefully get some more dragons out. This Berserker's Onslaught, when I saw it, I thought, why have they put that in it? Well, I've seen other people use this and it confused me a bit, so I thought, why is that in it? Well, attacking creatures you control have double strike. Well, in combat, each time it strikes and hits the person, that's classed as a separate, like, combat. So you then hit them the once, you can get a 5/5 red dragon. Then you do the second strike, so the double strike, you hit them again, and then you get another 5/5 red dragon token. And that is just off 1 creature, 1 turn. You do that with 3 tokens, you've got 6 flying 5/5 dragons to swing at someone next turn. This board, the board on this gets like ridiculous. If you can get the components out, the board gets massive real quick. And it's one of them that you don't realise it. You can maybe be turn 4, turn 5 and you're like a massive board state and you're like, I'm going to win, hopefully. I'm going to smash their face. Then you've got things like Legion Warboss, I read that earlier. Then you've got Loyal Apprentice. At the beginning of your combat, on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless flop to artifact creature with token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. Well, that's awesome. It's flying. Not every deck's got flying, so you can get that through without even having to worry. It'll just fly over them and smash them in the face. So that's how we're going to get, obviously fits the theme, how we're going to get like tokens out. Obviously there's more in the deck, but that's just a few. So that's the Gorogoro and Satoru. Let me know what you think about the deck in the comments below. You think there's anything I need to change or there's things that you would like to put in, then leave a like and a subscribe. I have a Patreon link in the description. If you like the content, then please think about, signing up to the Patreon. It really does help the channel out. If you want to wet your whistle even more with deck techs, watch this video next.